Okay, Mike Tyson is up on Saint or Sinner. You decide. Let's forget about any social media hype or fake news you have heard about Mike Tyson. Let's strip away his public persona and look at the universal forces that shape Mike Tyson and still motivate him today. Okay, first and foremost, Mike Tyson is most assuredly not a Cancer sun sign, as you might have seen elsewhere. If you have any questions about how I do the interpretations of my charts, please check out my Metaphysical Astrology Explained playlist. The actual and accurate placement of Tyson's sun at the time of his birth was in the stars of Gemini. Okay, his combined Sun Gemini energies are coloring the energy of his ninth house. There's a dark asteroid Nemesis here on his ascendant. And Tyson's moon is in the mixed energy of Scorpio and Ophiuchus in the second. Again, for the sake of keeping these videos short, focused, precise, and concise, please check out my Metaphysical Astrology Explained playlist to answer any questions. Okay, Tyson was formed by a Gemini sun, a Virgo ascendant, and a Scorpio Ophiuchus moon. Let's look at all the important placements starting with Tyson's ascendant. Nemesis in Virgo on his ascendant shows us that Tyson has often been seen by others as a source of harm, a person who brings the downfall of others, an opponent that cannot be beaten or overcome. That was Mike Tyson to a T, in fact. In Virgo, this is an energy he has been working to perfect, especially in his early life. As we move through Tyson's first house of personal desires and survival, how his energy presents itself to the world around him. As we move in, we see that the energy changes to Libra, which is further influenced by the energies of Neptune. What a contrast. This shows us that as Tyson matures, not everyone matures, but as a person matures, the chart shows how the forces should change. So as he matures, the universal forces in his chart will start to make him desire to connect with the divine. It will make him desire more harmony and a more balance in his life. Then with the south node near Cupido or Cupid, it shows that there has always been an innate harmonic force within Tyson. Tyson's first house ends in the energy of early Scorpio, death of an aspect of himself, death of something that the public would notice. Okay, so death of something he felt passionate about, something he felt was paramount to his survival as the man he once was. Okay, so that's interesting. And Terry's, the heart of the Scorpion, starts the energy of Tyson's second house. All right. This is the house of worldly values. If unbalanced, revenge is at its finest and what he valued above all else as a young man. But the energy is soon changed with Tyson's moon in mid-Scorpio, changed by the powers of Ophiuchus. Here we see Tyson's emotional, energetic body at one time deadened, valuing the idea of resurrection, what was once lost. We get deeper into these, and I'll get deeper into them when I discuss the interplay of all the energies in Tyson's entire chart at the end. His second house ends in Sagittarius, showing the universe is pushing Tyson to evolve into a person who values much more, worldly things in the material, much more than revenge, of course. Sagittarius continues to start the influence of Tyson's third house. It is interesting to note that both the house and the sign are void of any other celestial bodies, right? In fact, there is a gap. If you look in the sky, there is a gap between the constellations of Capricorn and Sagittarius. It is as if Tyson was completely left on his own to learn the way of the world as a young man. Instead of a proper education, he was destined to learn from the world around him, from the street, from the school of hard knocks, so to speak. It also shows he was destined to speak in the media. At first, the media was in control of Tyson's image. However, his third house ends in Capricorn, right? So this shows that as time goes by, Tyson learns to use the media to build his brand, and that he might build something, a solid legacy, a foundation that will help children globally, probably somewhere within the educational realm. Okay. So Tyson's, I see his emotional roots are in Capricorn in his fourth, showing that emotional stability was an issue for Tyson as a young man, and that creating a strong structure in his life was key to his emotional well being. Training, building, strengthening his physical body, his physical structure is supported by this energy. It is what helped him stay sane in his early years. His physical strength gave him the self confidence, protected him emotionally. Floss nearby shows that the building of his physical structure, the confidence, which created a major turning point for Tyson as a young man, something that he could build his legacy on. The fourth house ends with the energy of the combined of Charlico and Famahat, which is the energy of Archangel, Gabriel in Uranus. And this is showing us that Tyson, when he matures, is led more by inspiration, an inner knowing, to create a healing, emotionally nurturing space for those he considers family. Well, this is interesting. We'll see how it interplays at the end. All right. That'll give us more specifics. In Tyson's fifth house, it starts with Aquarius, okay, with Aphrodite. So this is not just a passion for beautiful, sexy women. The divine guidance is also involved here as well. So I see some aspects here. So we'll look at these very deep interpretations about the placement when we get to see all the energies working together. Okay. Tyson's passions. Let's see. So midway through the fifth, Tyson's passions take on the energy of Pisces with Chiron near Saturn, showing us that early in the Pisces energy, Tyson was probably lost his love of something that meant a lot to him. But as the Chiron energy appears, we see that spiritually helped Tyson heal to bring him back from the abyss. This energy is soon followed by Saturn, showing us that some form of organization or organized religion gave the stability to regain his passion for life. I believe he became a Muslim or something when he was in prison. Is that correct? Anyway, the scenario would fit the influence of these energies. All right. So Pisces energy continues. Sorry about that. It's clear. Pisces energy, continues to start the sixth house energy, and it's quickly flavored by the energy of Iris, Fortuna, then Pallas Athena, and Chaos. That's a lot. Okay, so sixth house, improvement of self and service to others. We see something. I think this harkens back to Tyson's first house with Neptune near his south node energy in Libra. Something early in Tyson's life made him aware of spiritual forces or unseen forces in his life. With Fortuna, he became aware of them. Tapping into them would be a most fortunate event in his life. Pallas Athena and Chaos then show that he would learn to use these unseen forces to balance the chaos in his life. If you ever saw Tyson fight when he was a younger man, you can assuredly see that an unseen force ran through him that other fighters simply don't have. This is an innate force no training can give a fighter. Tyson's sixth house ends with Dejanira conjunct Sedna on the cusp between Pisces and Aries, blending the energies of both constellations. There is a gap between the two where the energy of the constellation Cetus, the sea monster, rears its head, or I think it's the tail here. This would give Tyson power from the demons of the depths of his soul to rise up and fight for his own survival. Even his descendant is in Aries, right? To many of his one-on-one relationships, which would include opponents, especially in his early years, there would be an energy of a bloodbath, right? Going on. Tyson's seventh house energy changes to Taurus halfway through, where his north node is located near Varuna, the king of natural law, the law of universal forces. This is who Tyson was destined to become. Oh, I'm getting chills. Spirit is talking. He's not just physically strong. He is emotionally and spiritually strong at this point in his life, in all of his one-on-one dealings with others. The seventh house ends with Sirius, close to Venus conjunct Juno. That's right here. This shows Tyson will ultimately have a beautiful, sensual, and I think he probably has his third wife, right? Balanced, a sensual, balanced, supportive partnership, one that will bring him great pleasure. And you go, Tyson. Good for you. Taurus energy starts the eighth house, right? So we still have Taurus and we're in the eighth. And then we have Nessus. So this shows that assuredly his early intimate relationships were not so harmonic, not like his current marriage. They were, in fact, abusive in some way. This area of the chart denotes others. So although Tyson could have been abusive, his chart shows his early intimate partnerships used or abused him in some way as well. Ways that affected Tyson deeply. In the ninth house, the cut could have been so deep, it could have been deep enough to make him do the same, treat others in the same manner. But with Aldebaran, where's Aldebaran? Here, Aldebaran is Archangel Michael energy near Nessus. This would have protected him. It wouldn't have been the ruin of him, so to speak, but it let him suffer enough because Aldebaran, let me just show you this. Aldebaran works, there's a constant perfect opposition between Aldebaran and Antares. Antares is Archangel Uriel and Aldebaran is Archangel Michael. So Archangel is protection and Antares is basically teaching you divine wisdom through suffering. So you can't make progress in the world without the life lessons you were born to learn. But Archangel Michael makes sure that that doesn't go too far and that you are protected from complete and utter ruin. It all depends how the energies work as a whole in your chart. But let's get back to Tyson. Okay. So where was I? So I'm on his, okay. So Aldebaran. Okay. So he would have been protected enough. He would have been, Archangel Michael would have allowed him to suffer, to learn those valuable lessons that the universe wanted him to learn in his early life. Okay, so then next we see Tyson's vertex. Yes, exactly, directly across from his moon, the Scorpio Fucus. And I'll talk more about this interplay later because it seems to be very important in his chart. All right, so midway through the eighth, we see Tyson's Mars placement. Well, as a boxer, this is very important where his Mars is. So this is actually in the heart of Orion's energy as well. So Tyson's urge to fight comes from the deepest part of his unconscious, driven for the fight of survival. Like a royal, he was like a hunter, right? Hunting for your survival. Mars is at home in the eighth. This is a very powerful placement in the energy of the royal hunter, Orion. Orion was also exiled for rape. Mars and Orion in the eighth can symbolize such an exile in Tyson's life as well. But it also symbolizes his fight to survive the lowest and hardest moments of his life. I'm not saying Tyson did or did not do such things. I'm just reading the forces in the chart. Okay, the eighth house ends with Amor in Gemini, but very close to his sun in the ninth, right? Let me just clear everything. So here, Amor, we're still in the eighth. And the ninth starts with the sun, and then we have Amor, and this is in Gemini. Okay? So Tyson's love life was destined to be in the public spotlight, discussed in global media, a topic of households, despite it being a very private part of his life. Gemini starts the energy of the ninth house, right? His sun, again, Tyson was destined to be talked about from a very early age, first in his community, then on the national stage, then in the global press. Jupiter, Sirius, Orcus, right? Further expand the spotlight on any and all of Tyson's comebacks, especially after any stumble or low point in his personal life or career or retirement. This also shows an expanding of a global initiative to educate children from around the world. Tyson's ninth house ends in Cancer, right? It's here. We're still in the ninth and we're in Cancer and we have Mercury, right? At the top of his chart. Yes, this is showing Tyson matures as he matures. When he matures, he is more and more shown as someone who has learned from his life and is emotionally strong as a result. People now listen to him, his views, instead of just gawking at his physical prowess as they did at the start of his career. He speaks about protecting and nurturing children and is recognized for doing so. Cancer at the pinnacle of his chart, right? Cancer at the pinnacle of his chart in his 10th is yeah, it's still Cancer, right? Is strongly influenced by Maki, Vesta, and Estrella. This furthers the point that Tyson will be seen to operate as a person who leads a charitable organization that is inspired from his own trials and tribulations as a child. Tyson's midheaven is at 0 degrees, right here, 0 degrees, Leo, in his 10th house. Again, Tyson, since birth, was destined to be a king. 6 degrees later, we have Lilith, all right, showing that feminine influences created blockages to that attainment. At the end of the 10th, we see Eris surrounded by Regulus. Right? That's here at the end of the 10th, and we're still in Leo, right? This is Archangel Raphael's energy, and we also see Haumea. This harkens back to the Juno, Venus, Ceres energy in the 7th house in Taurus. Late in Tyson's life, this is underscoring that he will be healed and rejuvenated by a great love or passion, so much so it'll actually be remembered for it. Leo energy starts his 11th house. Okay, so showing, and we have Achilles here. There's Achilles here, heel, so to speak, showing that the press and humanity's action to the press, the spotlight on Tyson over the years drained him, at least in his early life. Tyson's powerful Pluto-Uranus conjunction in Leo in the 11th shows us that Tyson in time was able to transform his Achilles heel through a major life transformation. He transformed how he viewed and dealt with the internal pressures of living in the spotlight, reversing the way in it first drained his energy into letting it fill him with power and energizing him instead. Midway through the 11th, midway through the 11th, okay, the energy is going to change here. So it's changing to Virgo. We see Atropos, which is fate, conjunct Hygieia. By the second half of his life, Tyson is fated and pushed to use the universal forces innate in his chart to rise above and strengthen the energy, health of his physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body, his soul. Virgo starts Tyson's 12th house. Clear that. Okay. So we're still in Virgo. We're in the 12th house. And this is Neptune's sign. So since Neptune's in his first, I'm very interested to, and near his south node, I'm very interested to unpack his 12th. Okay. So we see Virgo is coloring his entire 12th house. This is showing us that throughout Tyson's life, he has looked for the deeper meaning behind events in his life. In the second half of the 12th, we see Quaoar, okay, right here, Quaoar conjunct Spica, showing us that Tyson is definitely gifted with the power to visualize outcomes in his life. Spica even blesses him further here, or this ability. He will have a gift of strong focus. In essence, Tyson can manifest anything he truly puts his mind to and his heart. Ixion, 5 degrees closer to the ascendant, shows Tyson has not always felt, that's here, has not always felt welcome or comfortable in the world. That universal forces that pushed him to be perfect, fight for a place in this world, are exactly what gave him the foundation to build his life upon. What an amazing chart. I'm not surprised of what we've unpacked so far. So we finished the interpretations of the placements. So now let's interpret the interplay of all these energies and see how they work together, see how they support each other or how they block each other. So the first thing we're going to do is look at Tyson's harshest aspects. These are the aspects that block the expressions of other energies. They have been major obstacles, life lessons in Tyson's life, blockages, lessons that he must overcome, harmonize, master to make the energies blessings rather than curses in his life. The strongest plow, okay, so the strongest plow is directed at the energies, that blessing of Ceres, Venus, Juno, that stellium in at the end of his 7th house, which denotes really blessed marriage or personal relationship. That energy was blocked for years by an opposition between that would be Eros and Haumea in Leo in the 10th, and Charlico on next to Fomalhaut in Uranus in his 4th house. This shows that for Tyson to have finally gotten in the intimate relationship that most of us aspire to, Tyson had to first balance the art of listening to his inner knowing to create a healing, protective home for his partner, their family, while simultaneously balancing the public scrutiny of his relationship. There is a secondary plow. The secondary plow is plowing under, well, it's affecting his Achilles heel, which we spoke about earlier. And it is coming from the opposition between Aldebaran, Archangel Michael, and Antares, Archangel Uriel, which we spoke about this. I'm sorry, I did it to the moon, but anyway, it's here. All right. So sorry, it shouldn't be there. It should be here. So anyway, so this is Archangel Michael protection and Uriel learning universal lessons needed in your lifetime through suffering. Okay, this give and take is what has been affecting, whether or not that Achilles heel is protected or not. But at this point in his life, I think he's come so far that I think that Antares is definitely now balanced with the forces of Aldebaran. So he's pretty much protected in all levels at this point. So that's a blessing. But earlier in his life, that would not have been true. All right. So that's the difference between when you look at someone's chart when they're 15 and you look at someone's chart and, they're at least halfway through their lives. They have actually achieved something. Hopefully, they've achieved something at that point. All right. So once he's gone through and learned his life lessons, he would be protected by Michael. All right. So another plow is emanating from his moon. Okay. So here we are, the moon, and it is going to the vertex. So this is the opposition involved, and it is plowing under the energy or inhibiting the energy of his Pluto Uranus conjunction. All right. So Tyson must harmonize, balance his deep emotional based values, healing them as through understanding that these extremely difficult abusive relationships in his early life, coming to terms with that, so that they don't affect him emotionally anymore, then he's able to use this transformative power. All right. Which helps him to give him the peace of mind and to move forward in his life and his career and how he wants to express himself in the world. Well, that's beautiful. And also humanitarians. It allows him to move forward once he gets rid of that blockage, right? From the abuse, whether it was him being abusive or someone being abusive towards him or using him in some way. And once he balances that, then he can move forward in his humanitarian endeavors, which is wonderful. Okay. Then an opposition from his Pluto-Uranus conjunction. So we have Aphrodite here, and that is coming from this. All right. So this opposition, that's why you need to be balanced in life, is kind of plowing under his ability to rise above these dark emotions. You see how everything interplays? So the more you know about your chart, the easier it is because you can be mindful of these blockages, and when things are happening in your life, you can say, oh yeah, it's that, and it expedites things, so to speak. Okay, so to unlock the ability for him to be able to dive deep and heal what he values in his life from an emotional perspective, what will give him the most pleasure in the material world and to be at peace, right? With his faded past loves, with beautiful, sexy women, and the opposing the figurative transformative deaths that those relationships and those issues caused him, and the media focus, which exacerbated the emotional harm done to Tyson at the time of those events. Okay, the last plow is inhibiting the expression of Vesta at the very top of his chart. Okay. And that is coming from, wait. That actually it's conjunct. It doesn't look like it, but if you look at the pips here, it's conjunct Maki, which gives it a different reading. Okay. And this is coming from Nemesis on his ascendant to his descendant in Aries. That's what this, if that's not harmonized, it will block this very high expression in his life. All right, so this is clear. As long as people only see Tyson as a source of harm, a person who brings the downfall to others, or an opponent that can't be beaten or overcome, or someone out to defeat another, or someone who's vengeful, many people around the world will find it hard to see the man he has become or is becoming, not just the boxer or violent. Um, Person that media has pushed for him to be seen at times, but the man whose life's lessons has made him wise through his suffering, through his struggles, and stronger mentally, physically, and emotionally because of it, and now wants to give back, right? So that he has to overcome, and he might still be working on that. So the most exact, all oppositions kind of create crucifixes, but some are exact and some are not. But the one exact crucifix here in Tyson's chart, where he suffered the most in his life, is directly there. It is from the vertex to the moon. So these were the issues we were just talking about. And that is crossed from this Pluto Uranus to Aphrodite. There. These are the energies that we've been speaking about that caused him the greatest suffering and killed probably certain aspects of himself, or literally might have almost killed him physically. This would have happened in at least one relationship that he valued, but the other person betrayed him. And as I said, would have caused deaths. It would have definitely been, it would have initiated a very dark period of his life, contemplating where he would have to have contemplated what he valued emotionally from a deep unconscious level, being crossed by an early love, a relationship whose demise was made very public, again, putting him 6 feet under, so to speak, away from the public eye for a while. I'll leave it to you to speculate which which relationship that was. So his suffering through his suffering, it is destined with Uranus that he find this great strength. His great strength came not from his physical strength alone, but from the universal forces that had inspired and worked through him and led him into the limelight from a very young age. Okay, enough of obstacles. Let's look at the more supportive forces that blessed Tyson and helped him survive all of this all of his life. Okay, so Tyson's strongest grand trine emanates from the moon and Scorpio Ophiuchus in the second, to the sixth, that would be Pallas Athena, would be the exact trine. And then from there to his midheaven and back on down to, okay. So that is an exact trine made out of 3 exact smaller trines. Okay. So this is showing us that Tyson's deep emotional life has always motivated and supported his fight to better himself in all ways, which resulted in pushing him into the limelight all his life. This trine creates only one kite to his IC. So this shows us where this energy was focused and where the blessing was supposed to manifest. So that was in his eye on his IC in Capricorn in the fourth. So in the IC is his deep and often unconscious emotional driving forces. With this placement, we discussed how this drove to build him a strong foundation physically, a strength which helped him feel at home and make a more stable place for himself in this world. He has a secondary trine also. This one is from Floss. So it's from Floss to Mars in the eighth in Orion. And then from Mars to Spica conjunct Quaoar in the 12th in Virgo, and then back down to Capricorn in the second with Floss. Okay, this was supportive, and this is the energy that gave him the way to forge his physical and emotional strength and was destined to help him survive all of life's storms, leading him to an leading him was this innate blessing to manifest anything he envisions, anything he puts his heart and soul into, he can achieve. If he doesn't manifest it, if he doesn't win, it means his heart wasn't there. This trine doesn't have a focus point. So that means the energy could have been a little bit harder for Mike Tyson to pin down and become aware of in his life. So the benefits, it would have taken him time to understand that he had these abilities and to know how to master them and stabilize them to be able to use them at will to his advantage. Okay, now that we have unpacked and interpreted all of the strongest forces that shape Mike Tyson and still motivate him today, is Mike Tyson a saint or a sinner? You decide. Stay tuned to see more videos like this posted here on the Saint and Sinner playlist each week. Until next time, I wish Mike and all of you all the best life and your natal charts have to offer. All right. Bye bye for now. Bye.